Hello, hello, welcome in lesson number 2. In this lesson, we will stamp using distress inks. I picked 4 colors: milk lavender, tumbler glass, dried marigold, and spun sugar. And those are, as you can see, distress inks because they have black uh, black pads made of black plastic, and I will be using them to stamp this balloon. This is some very old Concord and 9th stamp set, and this is a balloon and some filling that you can add inside, like sequins or like this confetti and tassels. So I will be using those 4 inks, and for stamping it's better to use usually distress oxide inks as they have a better coverage. But I thought that for a balloon that is like a little bit translucent, because you can see what's inside, like the confetti, I thought that it would be better to use distress inks instead of distress oxide. They are more translucent and kind of more dreamy in color, so I thought they will be better for the balloon body, but I will use distress oxide inks to stamp some other elements. So I started with purple, milk lavender, and now I'm moving to the second balloon. This is a tumbler glass, and I chose kind of a lighter colors, not very dark, because I wanted to add something inside the balloon, so I needed a lighter color to kind of reveal what's inside. And I'm stamping double, like with every layer I add another layer, because it's not easy to stamp with distress inks, especially with such a kind of solid element like this balloon. As you can see, it leaves like an white-ish elements inside, but with my balloon I am not bothered because balloons reflect light. So you can have this kind of an white-ish elements, points on the balloon that kind of mimic the reflection of light. However, if you wish to have more perfect result, reach for a stamping platform like Misty or Timho's stamping platform and just stamp using it. Then you can repeat several times in the same area, and you will kind of finally get a better result. After stamping my balloons, I will add those confetti-like parts inside, but this time I will switch to the distress oxide inks, and I will be using a same purple, but this time it's a wilted violet color, and I will stamp this confetti inside the balloon, and I will repeat the same with all 4 other ones. And I have the blue called broken china, and the orange called ripe persimmon, and the pink called picked raspberry, and I'm stamping them all inside each of the balloon. I am using not only first generation of stamping, which means stamping with a freshly inked stamp, but also using the second generation stamping, which means after stamping one time, you do not wipe the stamp, you stamp again, and it will give you much lighter shade of the same color. This is the perfect idea to save up on inks. You just buy one in each color, and this is exactly what I usually do, and stamp twice in the same area to get a darker shade, or stamp the second generation stamping to get a lighter shade. You will need stamping platform for this, because otherwise you won't be able to double stamp in the same area perfectly. But I think it's cheaper to purchase the stamping platform, and it's much more versatile tool if you like stamping than purchasing all the inks out there with different shades. So the same color comes like in 6 or 5 shades. This is what I'm exactly doing here. Do you see me stamping once and then stamping twice with the second generation stamping of the same ink? Of course, with darker color, it's much easier because you still have dark enough on the stamp with very light colors. Sometimes you cannot see the color with the second generation stamping. I'm almost done with adding the tassels here and there, and I'm only using those 4 inks that I chose for the stamping, not reaching for anything else, because I try to keep it in a limited color palette, well, limited into the colors I already chose, which are which are plenty already. So I stamped whatever I wanted to stamp, and now I wanted to add a string to each balloon, and the only gray distress color I have is Distress Inks in Pumice Stone. There are many more distress gray colors, but I am barely using this one, so I thought, why to spend money on other shades if I mostly reach for rainbow colors, and gray is like very barely used by me color. So I just stamped with what I have. You can use any other color, it doesn't have to be Distress ink in particular. I have my picture cut down after the stamping is ready. I use circular die to cut it out because it will look like a 5th balloon, hence the space between pink and orange balloon. I just had this idea in mind that I want the picture to look like another floating balloon, and I'm adding a yellow frame underneath. I am using a mix of scraps for variety of birthday collections. I think this is crepe paper Hooray or something like this collection from many years back. I like to keep my birthday themed items in one bag and just reach for them if I need anything birthday related. Especially if the items are mostly used up, so it's pointless to keep them as one collection, having only few stickers here and there. That's why I like using them this way, to keep them all together, especially as I usually buy very colorful birthday collections, so they match together perfectly. I will be making a little tassel out of paper because I added stamp tassels underneath the previous balloons, and for this one I want to have a real one, dimensional one. So I just cut out the strip of paper from one of the scraps, and I'm using the scissors to cut inside it, creating this tassel fringe, I would say. And I'm just quickly cutting. I will take something round like a brush to help me kind of, I don't know the English word, to swirl it around. I hope it's swirl to create a tassel shape. I'm adding a drop of glue so everything will hold, and I will repeat this process with yellow and navy colors, so I will have 3 tassels, and after they are dry I am gluing them down to the paper. It's a very easy and fast process. You can change the sizing of the tassels if you are making them by yourself. You can also purchase dies that cut it by you. If you don't like to cut every single string with the scissors, you can use like a fringe scissors that cut many of those lines at one time. I have my balloons ready and I have a lot of space on the bottom of my layout, so I decided I will create very quick gift boxes, and I'm using the same strips scraps of paper that I showed you before, and I'm cutting out for 5 presents, and they have different rectangular shapes, longer, higher, more square, more rectangular. And after cutting five shapes, I am adding strips of paper to imitate the ribbons on the gifts. So I have those added to first gift, and I will also cut something that reminds me of a heart shape without the pointy element on the bottom that will look like a bow on the present. So this is it, and I just need to add a drop of glue to add it behind the gift, and I'm doing exactly the same with all of the others, and this is how they look when they are finished. I'm gluing them down using glue. Some of them have like a layer of cardboard behind them to create dimension. And now the fun part, embellishing. So I'm reaching for those elements from the birthday bag, and some of them are from variety of collections. As I said before, most of them are almost finished. Like it's too little to keep it as a whole collection, but too much to throw it away. So I still give it a chance from time to time and add it to my pages. So those are just 6 by 12 stickers. I also have some cardboard stickers, but they are almost gone too. And most of this is from Crate Paper collection. I think it was Hooray, but I'm not sure. So I'm gluing everything down. I also found this happy birthday title. It's also from one of the stickers. This one is, I think, Pebbles collection, but also some of the older ones. I don't think you can still purchase it. Maybe in some like outlets or something. And I added it as a page title, and I will be adding a string to this using just a gray marker, and this is the same color as the one that we stamped the strings. This is the Pumice Stone Distress marker, and I was lucky to have exactly the same color, and it's the only gray marker I have, so it's a really lucky coincidence. So I can kind of make the strings longer. You can of course stamp twice, one after another, to get this a line. I added these tiny little circles from the puffy stickers here and there, and the final stage is to splash my page using the same distress inks that I used for stamping the balloon bodies. And I'm just watering it down with a little bit of water. I have a glass mat, so I can use it directly on the map. If you don't have, use acrylic block or a plate that can be easily wiped out. And here it is, page is done. Don't forget to cover your photo before splashing. And I really love how colorful and funny it looks. And thank you so much for staying with me, and see you in another lesson. Bye!